Bonjour Anna Maria, est-ce qu'on peut faire l'interview je peux poser les questions en anglais, c'est une question de sous-titrage. Ça vous gêne?
Non, pas du tout, non.
Et en l'occurrence, Anna Maria parle anglais aussi.
Ouais.
Est-ce qu'on peut le faire en anglais?
Yeah, of course we can.
That's absolutely great then. Tell me, Anna Maria, at first, congratulations for the film and the performance. It was great.
Thank you.
I cannot exactly say the word enjoyed because it's a very tense and very dramatic film, but I really loved it. Why do you think these things happened in the past? Is it only a question in France that the abortion was illegal and there was this attitude in society, especially among young people? Was it mainly religion, or was it a mixture of conservative culture and religion as well, or something else?
I think both of them, and I think many different aspects. I think the youth was very much conditioned by fear, and I think this is what we try to show in the movie, because you can see her friends letting her go because they're afraid of, risking the jail and risking the freedom, and also the doctors, because they kind of all understand what she wants, and they understand her, her desire, but they aren't heroes enough to, go with her and follow her in that path. So I think it's many aspects also, for example, the fear of the shame and the judgment. At that period, I feel like all the la valeur d'une fille.
The value of a girl.
The value of a girl is la valeur d'une fille tient dans sa conduite.
Comes from her behavior.
Yes.
Comes from her behavior. So I think it's, just women condition at that time where it wasn't very much, how could I say it, très émancipé, élaboré, respecté. Yeah, respected.
Respected or emancipated.
On the other hand, it is amazing that it's even more amazing that these things happen right now. And one of the qualities of the film is that it echoes a situation in Texas, for example, and other parts of the world, but especially in Texas, which is Western world. You being a young person, how do you evaluate that? How do you see it, and what do you discuss with your peers, your friends, people of the same age as you? Why is that happening in the 21st century?
Well, I wish I had the answer. I don't know why is that happening, and it's very alarming and very rude to see that this still exists. And when I first read the book, I couldn't imagine that this girl still exists, and still this story can still happen. So I saw it as, a sort of duty to just beneficiate from the light that I have being an actress, to just, talk about important subjects and put this on the projector. So I wanted to defend her and to give her justice in the most pure and right way. So I hope I did it. But when I wouldn't, especially talk about my friends, because, when you talk about your circle, in your circle, you often have people that have the same, not behavior, but the same ideas, the same that you can share, things with. So all my friends are, and thank God, for abortion. But if you extend a little bit and you can understand that there are still people that are fighting for, abortion to be illegal, it's it's alarming, and I feel it's not human in a way. But what we experienced with the movie is that, for example, we had a few screenings, and I remember 2 men that told us that they are against abortion, but the movie makes them think about it. So I think this is a great path and a great, un chemin accompli.
Yeah. One has to admire your performance, the way you followed the course of this hero, of this girl, how she progresses through the film, and especially the third act, let's say, was really, really tense and got on my nerves at a certain point.
Yeah, even myself, when I first watched the movie, I watched it like this.
Yes,
and I played it. That. So
it's a little bit of a horror thing. But what did Audrey tell you to do in times of doubt? When you had a doubt, when you had a hesitation, what was her, let's say, enlightening advice?
Well, when I had a doubt or an hesitation, I think I had the luck to just be in front of a director that makes me, feel that having a doubt or an hesitation is completely valuable and it's valid. So I had that luck to just have the freedom to doubt and to hesitate sometimes, because we knew once we arrived on set who the character was, because we prepared and we worked on it before. And we knew that she was a soldier and she has to, make that war, that personal war, and that also in terms of society war, because I feel she's a sort of model for the other young women that, will follow her after that. But I think it was, sometimes we didn't know what she could feel or how to play what she feels. So I think it's important to just sometimes let yourself, not put that much pressure on yourself, and just understand that there are things that you can't understand from her. And you don't have to understand everything from a character. This is also very interesting to just keep that part of mystery. And I think sometimes it's important to just, even yourself, and even, for example, for this character, sometimes she doubts and sometimes she's scared and she, doesn't know how to do what she wants. So if I felt that, it was, even more better for the character also.
That's very wise what you're saying, Sage. Thank you so much, and bon succès, and I wish you the best for the film and for you.
Merci beaucoup.
Bonjour. Hello.
Hey, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Théodore.
Enchanté.
Enchanté. Est-ce qu'on peut faire l'interview en anglais?
Oui, bien sûr. Bien sûr.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, let's go. It's rolling. Recording in progress.
Thank you so much for the interview and congratulations for the movie.
Thank you very much.
I really liked it. And I would like to know how it happened. When did you read the book? And when did you decide to film it?
I've discovered the book just after I got an abortion, and I wanted to read about it. A friend told me to try to read Happening, and I was surprised because I've read a lot of Annie Ernaux's book, but I didn't know this one. I was quite shocked to realize that I didn't know much about clandestine abortion. It was far away from what I could imagine. I realized that we are not taught what it was for women. And I'm not talking only about abortion, but also about desire, about sex, what it was to be a young woman in the 60s. Yeah. But I also know that it's nowadays the same thing for lots of girls in the world. So it was in my mind for a while. And after a few months, as it was still there, I've decided to write a movie.
The film is about many things and has a lot of themes. Your initial thought was to make the movie because of the abortion theme and then balance all the social, political undertones? Or did it come directly to your mind as you read the book and as you were preparing to write the screenplay? Because I know that you're a fine scriptwriter and a writer.
I was seduced by the character at first. The first thing is that I follow her in my mind. I felt very close from what Anya Ernaux's writing for many years. So I not only know the girl from the book, but I also know, because she only writes about her life, I also know a lot about the rest of her life. And I was quite touched by the idea that this particular moment made her the writer she became. So the character came first, and then I built around it.
Mm-hmm. The 60s as a decade is one of the most important decades of all time, I think, in the history of humanity. But it's also very much mythologized, meaning that there is a nostalgia about what happened, which is not exactly the reality. Mm. What I'm wondering is that there were so many promising and radical filmmakers in the 60s, the ones that came out of the Nouvelle Vague, the French New Wave. And I am surprised and shocked that nobody out of them made a film as important as this one, given the fact that this problem existed and this gap between the conservative Catholic society and the part of the French intelligentsia that led to the 1968 events. So how can you explain that? How can nobody tackle that? And how can this book was one of Annie Ernaux's less popular books?
That's interesting because first of all, I want to say that I think it's very interesting because it's 64 in France. So it's not 68 when the sexual revolution is happening, but it's just before, meaning that this youth is already, they have the feeling that youth is a social category for first time in history. So they find places to, flirt, dance, and they feel that desire, but it's really not allowed to be too close, So it's very interesting because it's a special moment when you feel a bit more free, but you are not at all.
Yeah.
But the topic is surrounded by silence.
Yes.
I mean, you have to stay silent when you're a woman. And I'm not surprised that it took Annie Ernaux 20 years before she wrote the book. It took her 20 years to... I mean, there is social shame about that topic when you're a woman. I mean, the silence is built on that social shame.
Yeah.
So she had to, you need to be brave to write about it. And most of the men, they didn't know at all. So La Nouvelle Vague, the main directors are men. And most of them have no idea because it's all silence.
That's a shame. Retrospectively thinking about it. The film, for me, is about freedom on many aspects. Did you have any thoughts, hesitations about the tone of the film? How to make the film and express yourself?
It is strange because I had not many doubts by the time, but I can't explain why exactly, I felt that my character would take me in the story, The first thing I had in mind is I tried to imagine what it was to be in the 60s. So fight nostalgia. Imagine you have a caméscope. Is it the right word? You can film you can VR. I won't find the right word. You can actually, c'est quoi? Camcorder, merci.
Oh, okay.
A camcorder by the time, so you can be in the 60s and step by step follow the character. So what it was to live in that period of time and to experience what the society doesn't allow to you. So what is it to be this youth?
What is the next project that you're tackling right now?
I've started writing like 2 weeks ago, so of course it's too early. I can just say that in my mind it's dangerous, and that's why I want to do it.
Testing. Okay. That's good. That's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.